Okay, great. Welcome to the regular meeting of the Planning Commission on Tuesday, August 9th, 2022. This meeting is called to order. I'll request staff to call the roll for commissioners who are present and not. Leslie?
Yes, Commissioner Harris.
Here.
Commissioner Haveman.
Here.
Commissioner Mercado.
Here.
Commissioner Samudzi is absent tonight. Commissioner Schock is also absent tonight. Vice Chair Saudi.
Here.
And Chair Previtali.
Here. Excellent, thank you. We'll move on the order of the agenda. Are there any changes to the order of the agenda? Order may only be changed by a majority vote of the commissioners present. Seeing no changes. All right, next we'll move to the meeting procedures. I'd like to ask staff to address how public comment will work this evening. Leslie?
Yes, in response to Assembly Bill 361, the City of San Rafael is offering teleconference without complying with the procedural requirements of Government Code Section 54953B3. This meeting is being recorded and is being held in person, virtually using Zoom, and is being streamed live to YouTube at www.youtube.com/ the one that goes like this, City of San Rafael. YouTube viewers are welcome to attend by telephone by calling 669-444-9171 and entering the meeting ID, which is 897-4566-6511 #, or watch directly through the Zoom using the link on the agenda. When the chair opens the public comment, we will first take public comment from those in attendance in the chamber, followed by those in virtual attendance. If you are participating by telephone tonight and wish to comment, please press *9 when the chair opens the public comment period. Once you hear a notification that the host is inviting you to speak, press *6 to unmute yourself. At the chair's discretion, you will have up to 3 minutes to speak. If you submitted comments prior to the meeting by email or letter, it has been forwarded to the Planning Commission. And closed captioning is available for this meeting using the icon at the bottom of the screen of the Zoom webinar screen or through the link on YouTube.
Great, thank you. Let me now describe meeting procedures. We will begin with a staff report. Members of the public will then be invited to speak. You will have 3 minutes for public comment. Commissioners will have the opportunity to ask questions of staff, applicant, or public after each segment. We will close the public hearing and bring the matter back to the commission for discussion and action if necessary. Now for urgent communication. Anyone with an urgent communication on a topic not on the agenda may address the commission at this time.
Again, if anyone in the chambers, please walk up. And if you wish to speak from those in attendance on Zoom, please use the raise the hand icon or *9 if you're phoning in. And I see no one wishing to speak on items not on the agenda.
Great, thank you. We'll now move on to the consent calendar, which has one item, the approval of the Planning Commission meeting minutes of July 26th, 2022. The recommended action is to approve the minutes as submitted. Are there any comments from the public on the consent calendar? Leslie?
So again, if you wish to speak, come up to the dais, and or if you wish to speak on the consent calendar, please use the raise the hand icon found at the bottom of the screen or *9 if you are phoning in. And we have no takers.
Okay, thank you. Are there any commissioners who would like to edit the minutes? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve them. Please note your name.
Commissioner Saudi, I'll move to approve the minutes from last week's meeting, or the last meeting on July 26, 2022.
Great, thank you. To have a second, please note your name.
Commissioner Harris, I second that motion.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Okay, thank you. Since there's no discussion, I move to roll call. Leslie?
Yes, Commissioner Harris.
Yes.
Commissioner Haveman.
Yes.
Commissioner Mercado.
Yes.
Samudzi and Schock are absent. Vice Chair Saudi.
Yes.
and Chair Privatali.
Yes. Passes. Great, thank you. Now for the public hearings. The item on the agenda tonight is a use permit and environmental and design permit for the Ritter Center at 800 and 804A Street. The chair requests, I request the staff report.
And I would just like to take a moment to introduce Jeff Valentine. For those of you who have not yet met him, he is one of our star senior planners. So take it away.
Okay, good evening, planning commissioners. So this project before you tonight is for a use permit for a major medical facility for the Ritter Center to relocate from 16 Ritter Street to 800 A Street to an existing building. Ritter Center offers medical, behavioral health, as well as case management services to those living in poverty in Marin County. And the project proposal includes renovating and making minor exterior improvements to the existing building at 800 A Street, as well as demolishing an existing building at 804 A Street as well to expand the parking lot. And environmental design review permit is required as well for the minor modifications to the existing building as well as the parking lot expansion. So here you'll see on the right is the existing office building, approximately 14,000 square feet. The parking lot down here to the lower left, and then the existing commercial building at 804 A Street. Together, those two lots make up the entire site of approximately 21,000 square feet. It has frontage on A Street, 2nd Street, as well as on Brook Street. And these surrounding uses include multifamily residential, medical offices, as well as commercial. And here's some photos of the site. So here on the right on the top photo, looking north from 2nd Street, here's the existing office building that they would occupy. And then here's the parking lot. And then on the left is the existing building that would be demolished. And on the photo on the bottom is looking east from A Street at the site. Here is the existing site plan. So the one on the left is the entire site. And then the one on the right is zoomed in, focusing on particularly on the parking lot. And then here's the proposed site plan. So in terms of proposed improvements, again, we're expanding the parking lot. So now it'd be accommodating 17 parking spaces, 2 of which would be ADA spaces you see here in the upper right. It'd also be providing a pedestrian pathway from A Street. So that's what you see right here leading to the main entrance of the building, as well as substantial landscaping surrounding the entire parking lot. So you're buffering the view of the parking lot from 2nd Street, as well as from A Street, as well as from the multifamily residential building to the north. Oh, and these red just showing that there's an existing curb cut from 2nd Street that would be removed, and then expanding slightly the curb cut from A Street. In terms of the plant palette, so they're proposing a number of different native and drought-tolerant plants. So examples include manzanita shrubs, monkey flower, as well as aloe, lily, and deergrass. And in terms of the building elevations, so the one on the top is the existing west elevation. The one on the bottom is the proposed west elevation. So you see here that the main changes are really just these new metal roof screens to screen mechanical equipment on the roof, as well as some minor changes to the aluminum door front system for the main entrance, changing the awning color, and then just removing the railing. And I'll just briefly go over the floor plan. So here, north is pointing to the right here. Here's the main entrance towards the top, coming into a rather large waiting area in the reception area, some medical exam rooms, the food pantry area, as well as a number of offices. And the applicant will provide much more detail in terms of the services they provide. And then in terms of parking lot exceptions, so required parking setbacks in our recently adopted downtown precise plan, requires a 30-foot setback from the front property line, which is considered A Street, and a 5-foot side setback from Second Street. So the project does not meet those requirements, noting the existing parking lot does not meet the requirements, nor would the expanded parking lot. And then also the driveway width, there's a maximum allowable driveway width of 12 feet and a maximum allowable width of curb cut for 14 feet. However, our Public Works Department has said that those are not safe for this proposal, and that really the Public Works Department is requiring 26-foot wide driveway as well as 20-foot curb cut. As you can imagine, vehicles wanting to go in and go out would want to lift up a little bit wider than just a 14-foot curb cut. So, and then in terms of the parking setback exception, parking modification is allowed with a use permit. And as I've already gone over, this expanded parking lot would allow for accommodating more parking spaces. So we're minimizing impacts to parking spaces on street in the area, as well as providing ADA spaces, improving the pedestrian pathway. So staff believes we can make the findings for the use permit. So with that, staff recommends adopting the attached draft resolution, approving use permit UP 22-003, environmental design review permit ED 22-009. With that, I'm available for questions, and the applicant has a presentation as well.
Great, thank you very much. All right, could we get the presentation from the applicant? Then we'll move on to questions after that.
Good evening. Thank you, Planning Commission members, for hearing our project tonight. And thank you to members of the public who hopefully are on Zoom or on the web. My name is Mark Shotwell. I'm the Executive Director of Ritter Center. Ritter Center is a federally qualified health center. We provide primary medical care, behavioral health care services, much like Kaiser. We've been in downtown San Rafael now for 41 years. 50% of our patients are not people who've experienced homelessness. Rather, they're individuals who have experienced low income, many of them Medi-Cal beneficiaries. However, we're also very proud to serve people who have experienced homelessness. As you well know, homelessness is a big and serious problem in San Rafael as well as in the county of Marin. And in partnership with Marin County, City of San Rafael, and our nonprofit partners, since 2017, we've housed over 470 individuals. Specifically through Ritter Center programs and services, we've housed almost 200 of those individuals and families. So we are part of the solution to homelessness in San Rafael and in Marin. This relocation to 800-804 A Street will help us to provide our services better to the people that we serve, the patients that we serve, and for our staff and for the community. At this new location, we're able to move everything inside to be self-contained, which is a dramatic improvement over the existing campus. We're also able to move in all of our administrative staff and our senior level staff into this building. That provides the best level of oversight and support, both for our patients and for our staff. In response to some conversations that we've had with the public, and to be a good neighbor, we're doubling our security at this location to ensure that we address any concerns quickly. I'd like to now turn over the time to my colleague, Paul Cohen.
Good evening, commissioners, staff, members of the public. My name is Paul Cohen. I am principal at PM Cohen Public Affairs. I'm a 35-year resident of San Rafael. I'm a former planning commissioner and a former member of the San Rafael City Council, all of which is to say that I am very familiar with San Rafael's general plan, and I care deeply about our city's future. I'd like to highlight how this application is consistent with San Rafael's adopted policies and principles. First of all, as noted in the text of your staff report, General Plan 2040 includes the equity, diversity, and inclusion element. Policy EDI 2.4 calls for promoting access to healthcare for all residents to safeguard individual and community well-being. Program EDI 2.4A calls on you, to support the development of easily accessed healthcare. Secondly, the Downtown Precise Plan in Principle 8 notes that downtown San Rafael is a regional hub for a variety of services. It promotes housing solutions with support services and calls on the city to take initiative in addressing homelessness in downtown and to continue to offer supportive services. Ritter is a key partner in these ongoing efforts. Third, in Chapter 4.1 of the Downtown Vision, the entire block bounded by 2nd and 3rd from Lincoln to Lindaro is highlighted as a potential infill opportunity. That block is where Ritter is currently located. Allowing Ritter to relocate a grand total of 2 blocks opens up that possibility for infill development without displacing a critical part of San Rafael's supportive services. And finally, it's important to recognize that, as Mark noted, Ritter Center has been operating in downtown San Rafael for 41 years. It currently operates under a use permit granted by the City of San Rafael. So this is not a new use or a request for a new entitlement. It's merely a relocation of an existing entitlement. So we thank you for your consideration, and I'll turn it over to Scott Peterson, the project architect.
Hello, my name is Scott Peterson. I'm principal with Indie Architecture. We're honored to work with Ritter Center on the development of this particular project. The project itself is substantially a tenant improvement, obviously with the exception of the conditional use permit. As you can see from the plans that Jeff showed, it's substantial reconfiguration of the interior space. We will have new mechanical, electrical, plumbing systems. The modifications to the building itself is limited to the awning and the storefront entrance, as well as screening of mechanical equipment to meet the planning requirements. The modification on site for the parking, it increases the off-street parking and access for the facility, but it allows us to provide code required accessible parking stalls, an increased number than is existing, as well as code compliant path of travel to the main entrance. Ritter Center had done quite a bit of outreach with the neighbors prior to the application. And so the site plan was influenced by the feedback we received. In particular, the screening and relocation of the driveway to A Street, as well as the path of travel from A Street. We're providing a means for securing the parking lot for after hours or overnight, so that it wouldn't be a attractive nuisance for parking. The landscape, with the new parking lot, the landscape provides an opportunity to soften the parking lot as well as provide screening. And I think we're trying to take advantage of that opportunity. With that, we'd like to request if there is any public comment, to reserve the remainder of our time to answer or respond to any public comments. But thank you very much, and I'm happy to answer any questions you have about the project.
Great. Thank you very much. Thanks, everyone. All right. I will now open to hearing public. I will now open the public hearing and ask staff to request any comments from the public.
Do you want to first see if there's any questions from your fellow commissioners?
Oh, I'm sorry. That is the next order of business. Are there any questions from the fellow commissioners? Thanks, Leslie.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Hi, this is Commissioner Sadi. I want to thank you for the application. In general, I'm in support of the project. I think it's going to be a great asset to the city, and it's going to do a lot to improve the operations of Ritter House, as well as making sure that, I know the current location is problematic, and so I think this is a big upgrade. I do have a question about the parking lot. I noticed on the landscape plan there's a fence indicated with like plantings. Do you guys I didn't see any elevations of that in the application, and I was wondering if you could describe that a little further, and then also let us know a little more about security in that parking lot. What that 24-hour cycle is of keeping that parking lot secure.
Sure, appreciate it.
So I'm assuming you're talking about the fence that's on Second Street. The sightline requires that that fence be of a certain height and nature. We can't get too close to the corner. Primarily, we'd like to provide landscaped sort of separation of that parking lot. But in the meantime, to discourage inadvertent crossing of the landscape, it is a black iron picket fence, primarily open to allow the landscape to grow through and around it, is the intent there. On the north side of the property would be a more substantial wood fence to provide greater screening for the neighbors on that side. With respect to site security, anything in particular that you wanted to?
Oh, it didn't look like the parking lot has the ability to be totally closed off at, at night or,
So,
at times
there is, so there is not a full gate surrounding it. Primarily as a presence, it would be, I think it'll be a little bit off-putting. So to prevent vehicles from going on site, we are going to propose having 2 bollards on either side and a chain that would prevent vehicular traffic onto the site. Ritter is having, and Mark can get into detail about it, but Ritter is having security come by the site during the night to observe and check in on things, if that's also what you're referring to.
Yeah, that mostly answers my question.
I can just add
Yeah.
1 or 2 sentences about the security. So when I said, just to give details, doubling the security. So currently we just have 1 security guard at the existing campus. So we're going to have 2 security guards during all business hours. Currently we have 1 drive-through that a security guard does in the evening. So we're doubling that to 2. And we currently have video cameras on the campus that also look out onto the street area. So we're able to look at the cameras and make sure that there's not any problems happening. So we're going to do a very similar thing at this site, having cameras on the Brook Street side as well as on the front side for the parking lot. So if there are any challenges, that we'll be able to address those and, if necessary, increase the security.
Thank you. Yeah, that sounds good.
Great. Commissioner Haven, you have a question?
I do have just a quick question. First, I want to echo the sentiment that I think this is a very good thing for the city, and I applaud the move and the development. This may be mostly for my edification. I'm wondering on the 30-foot setback on parking. Can you, Jeff, talk a little bit about the rationale for that?
I was not here when that plan was adopted. So I'm assuming the rationale was that they wanted to encourage other uses that activate the street, like more like commercial uses, and try to prohibit. But it is quite restrictive. So at least there's this valve where we can offer some flexibility with the use permit.
Right. Okay, thanks very much. That's it.
Okay.
Commissioner Harris.
Oh, yes, please go ahead.
Awesome, thank you. I want to third the sentiments expressed by the commissioners here. Mark, Paul, and Scott, I really appreciate you being here. And Mark and Paul specifically, the work that you've done in the community is amazing and obviously very impactful. And a question, just for my own curiosity's sake, Mark, I believe, said that you have helped house 470 individuals since 2017. Are they actually housed within the facility, or are you facilitating housing in other ways? And then a related question is, how does Ritter House interact with the navigation center that was downtown? Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Harris. Yeah, when I say house people, I don't really give the right picture. So all of the housing that's happening as a result of the Housing First efforts in Marin County is primarily through what's called tenant-based supportive housing. So these are vouchers that people have that operate much like Section 8 vouchers, where people then are able to rent apartments on the fair market. So when I say we've housed, or all of us in partnership, what I'm talking about is the process of navigating people through that process to utilize their voucher, assisting them at getting into housing. And then very important, as I'm sure you're very familiar in the Housing First movement, is all the supportive services to help people not just get housed, but stay housed. And part of that success in Marin County, and we all should be very, very proud of this in Marin County and San Rafael, we have a 95% housing retention rate here. That exceeds the national average in Housing First, which is about 85%. So that means more often than not, way more often than not, people are getting housed and staying housed because of those services. And I now have to ask you to ask your second question again.
For sure. I was just wondering, excuse me, how Ritter House interacts with the navigation center that I think is moving or has moved, that was in a parking lot under the overpass.
Yeah, so we partnered in a couple of different ways. So first of all, our housing case managers that are working with people to be able to find housing partnered with people there working on housing vouchers. And we also, in the last year, launched our street medicine services. So that's a mobile van that we have with a mobile medical team that can go anywhere in the county to be able to provide medical services to people on site to ensure people who are unserved, underserved, kind of falling through the cracks and not getting to a clinic. They may be at the SSA in San Rafael where they're less than a mile from Ritter Center, and it might as well be on the other side of the country. They're not coming, right? And so we can bring those services directly to people, ensure that they get that health care. And then through that process of engagement, that can lead to a lot of other things. I've done homeless outreach work for a long time, and sometimes an outreach worker or a social worker is who somebody wants to talk to. But if your head hurts or your foot hurts, those folks aren't as helpful as a doctor can be. So bringing the doctors out can create that kind of relationship and connection that can help them with healthcare, but also lead to other things. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Commissioner Mercado, do you have a question?
Yeah, I have a quick question. Is there an existing structure that's getting removed?
Yes, so there's an existing commercial building at 804 A Street that would be demolished in order to expand the parking lot.
Got it. And then the proposed parking, is that primarily for employees?
No, I believe it's for primarily for visitors.
Yeah, Ritter Center pays for parking for our staff in the A Street garage. We won't be using that parking lot for our staff. This is for our patients and our clients.
Oh, sorry. Could you use the microphone?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, could you use the microphone? Thank you.
Sorry. No, Ritter Center pays for parking for our staff at the A Street garage. This is to ensure that patients, clients, family members of patients and clients that come to our center, or any other service providers that come to our center to collaborate on services, have on-site parking.
Got it. Thank you. And then from a traffic.
We have another response as well.
Oh, sure.
Thank you. I just wanted to add to that, because when we originally looked at the site, honestly, we thought of 804 as potentially the home for like admin services for Ritter. That building is so degraded, we kind of ran screaming out of it. It's not, you could not reconfigure that building and use it, meet current ADA requirements, let alone anything else. So that was sort of off the table. We would not be required to do anything. The existing parking lot is grandfathered, but neighborhood comments, the police department comments about removing the exit from the parking lot 2 second, all suggested that reconfiguring that parking lot would be not only a benefit to Ritter's clients, but a benefit to the community. And so then led us to, okay, well, what if we take the building down? What can we fit here? That's really what led to the development of a proposal for a revised parking lot. I don't know if you ever parked in that little lot. It's kind of a nightmare. So it's all around a benefit. Ritter, the building is not required to provide parking under the general plan, but given the circumstances of this particular site and the use being proposed, we thought it was the right thing to do.
Great, that makes sense. Commissioner Mercado, do you have another question?
I think it'll be quick. It was sort of related to maybe traffic at that intersection. And just wondering, sort of hours of operation for the services provided. Was that something considered, spoken with the community about? Was it staggered in a way where it'll mitigate sort of the traffic flow that can happen at that intersection?
Sure. So our Ritter Center business hours are 8:30 to 5, Monday through Friday. We don't do any evening services, weekend services, things like that. Through all of the conversations we've had with the public, it's actually the most commonly asked question is what are our business hours that people have wanted to know. Yeah, I think people would say this that we talked to. I think it was reassuring when people understood what our business hours were and weren't. I remember one conversation we had, somebody mentioned something happening on the weekends at Ritter, and I was like, what's happening? And it's the Obama phone people that set up, and they set up on a corner, and I said, it's not Ritter Center. And so anyway, so that I don't know that there will be any significant change in the impact for the staff because they're all just driving to the A Street garage now for services, so they'll continue to do that. We don't have many of our clients that use cars to come to Ritter Center. Some do, and where we think the parking will help is that, you know, if somebody's coming to our food pantry with their kids and they're getting a couple of bags of groceries, currently sometimes they have to park a couple blocks away. That's not ideal in that situation. And especially for our disabled clients, we try to accommodate them now with an existing driveway we have for an ADA space, but it's obviously less than ideal. And sometimes people double park in it. So this will ensure that anybody who has mobility challenges has parking right up front.
Okay,
Thank you.
great. I have a question, I think for, is Jeff, is that right?
Yeah.
Excellent. Are there any historic preservation implications or impacts?
Relating to the structure that would be demolished?
Yeah.
So as part of the downtown precise plan, there was a pretty thorough study that was done looking at all the buildings within the downtown precise plan. And this was not one of the buildings that was identified worth preserving or of historical significance.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yeah.
Commissioners have any other questions? Okay, great. So now we will move to open it up for public questions. Leslie?
Yes, public comment. If you're here in the chamber and wish to speak, you can come up to the dais. And if you are participating by Zoom, please use the raise the hand icon at the bottom of the screen or *9 if you're phoning in. You can walk up and you will have 3 minutes.
Thank you. My name is David Nagel. I'm a 25-year resident. David Nagel. I'm a 25-year resident of San Rafael. For the last 10 years of my career, I worked on 5th Street in San Rafael. And for 7 years, I've been on the board at Ritter Center. Since October, I've been the board chair. So Ritter serves individuals and families who are low income. Some may be food insecure. Some may not be able to afford basic medical care. Some have disabling conditions. Others are elderly or veterans. And some are struggling with substance use or behavioral issues associated with mental illness. Ritter provides to everyone quality medical care, social services, case management. We operate a food pantry. We help homeless people succeed at being housed. At Ritter Center, we don't give up on anybody. Ritter's a good community partner, engaging with local jurisdictions, organizations, and individuals to create positive outcomes in our shared community. I support, and I ask you to support, approval of our application for a permit to use at 800 A Street for the continued betterment of our city and people who live here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else in the chambers wishing to speak? Okay. We will turn our first caller is Mike Ralston.
Thank you, commissioners, for the opportunity to speak to you this evening. My name is Mike Ralston. I am on the board of directors at Ritter Center and have been on the board for the past 4 years, I believe. My wife and I and family have been residents of San Rafael since 1980. That's 42 years. I'm a retired physician from Kaiser Permanente and practiced at Kaiser Permanente in San Rafael and Novato for 30 years. Besides being on the board of directors at Ritter Center, I'm also the medical director of the Rotocare Clinic in San Rafael. I'm here to voice my strong and overwhelming support for the issuance of this permit to allow Ritter to build and move its location. The advantages, I think, will be multiple, but primarily will revolve around allowing all of the services of Ritter Center to be brought under one roof. Currently, as you're probably aware, at the Ritter Street location, that there are 3 buildings and that administrative services are out on North San Pedro Road. The new location will allow all services to be under one roof and bring all the services inside the building, which I think will be an advantage to the community. The other point that I want to make is that this keeps the services proximate to those that are most vulnerable and in need. Rather than moving a distance away, which would require additional transportation difficulties, keeping the services available to the precariously housed and the homeless and those in poverty in San Rafael will allow Ritter Center to more effectively accomplish its mission of preventing homelessness and helping those that are in poverty in San Rafael. So again, I strongly support the issuance of this permit, and thanks for the opportunity for me to speak. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Next up is Ayuska Smith. Ayuska, you have 3 minutes.
Yes, hi. My name is Yuska Smith, and I'm here with Shepard Smith, my husband. We've been in San Rafael for 36 years, and we own the property at 808 A Street since 1997. So the property is right next door to what's going to be the future parking lot and the medical building itself. We are in favor of the project. We have no problem with the project and the purpose of the project and everything. We are though concerned about our tenants. We have a triplex at 808 A Street. We had a previous meeting with Mark and Paul. We went over the in details actually what the project consists and what's going to happen with the parking lot. I want to, though, to reemphasize that I didn't hear very well the height of the fence that is going to be between the parking lot and our property. Also about the security, what I understand now is that it's going to be during business hour and then as needed during the evening and the night. Correct me, please, if I misunderstood. And then my understanding is that the entrance for the food pantry is going to be on Brook Street. You know, the concern basically is people hanging out or trespassing into our property. And then also regarding the landscape, we have in common a mature palm tree that we would like to preserve, and we mentioned that to Mark. So we want to see if it's possible to preserve that. And then the lights also, we have the lights, making sure that they will point towards the parking lot so they will not disturb the tenants. And that's about it, right? Do you have any other? Could you hear me well?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we understand.
Yep.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll address those topics in a moment.
Next up is, hold on. And sorry, I'm having a little technical difficulty here. Antoinette Doyle. Antoinette, you
Yes.
have 3 minutes.
Good evening, everybody. I am in full support of our project for Ritter Center. I'm on the board. I'm a new person on the board, but I have a long history in social services and worked in the Tenderloin in my native San Francisco many years ago, and became extraordinarily concerned about the conditions of our homeless brothers and sisters. And so when I moved to San Rafael, I became aware of Ritter Center. And then a very dear friend of mine suggested that I might want to join the board and contribute what I can. My career has been fundraising, particularly grant writing and capital campaigns. So what impressed me so much about Ritter is all of its services. I think case management it's not unique in social services, but the way that the Ritter programs are set in place, case management really is stellar. And in fact, it's, I think, a model program for Marin County. I know that we need new space, and I think that the building is a very good location. I know that it will serve the people that are our constituents very well. It will also consolidate our offices, which is much more cost effective. And I think it's a very, very good fit for that area of San Rafael. And I think as people get to know us better, they will realize the plethora of services that we offer, not just to our homeless constituents, but to their families and to their friends who have thought that they were being abandoned, which they are not. And also, the new building will enhance the city of San Rafael. It will add to the business community. It will add to small businesses around and about that area of downtown San Rafael. So from my experience working in the Tenderloin, it was actually on a capital campaign for the restoration of St. Boniface Church and ironically, St. Anthony Foundation. I know the constituents, I know how much need there is, and I know how remarkably rewarding it is to the community at a whole when we can be successful in helping and restoring people to their dignity. So thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you.
Next up is Anne Gray. Anne Gray, you have 3 minutes.
Hi, this is Anne Gray. I'm the CEO at Vivalon, formerly Whistle Stop, and we are constructing our Healthy Aging Campus at the corner of 3rd and Brook Street, which will have 67 units of affordable housing, our Healthy Aging Center, Jackson Cafe, and integrated care clinic for older adults. So we are in support of this project for potential opportunities for partnership and look forward to working with Ritter House on some activities that will be happening around the center. And so we ask for your support. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is Paul Fordham. Paul, you have 3 minutes.
Hi, I'm Paul Fordham. I'm the co-CEO of Homeward Bound of Marin, and would like to speak in favor of this project. I think the concept of bringing both all the services under one roof, but really bringing the patients and clients inside the building to provide a dignified private space, which is something we all deserve when we're having medical care, is a great concept and a necessary concept. I applaud Ritter Center for moving forward with this. And, you know, it's challenging to develop anything in Marin County right now with the cost. And so I appreciate that their commitment to their clients is helping, you know, really push this forward. And I think it makes a lot of sense in this location. I'd also like to speak to the need for their services. Mark mentioned the mobile medical van earlier. They were at the Homeward Bound's shelter in the Bartow today, serving people there who've been experiencing homelessness very recently and are just in a temporary shelter. And what I hear time and again from the clients is the respect they get when they go to the Ritter Center medical van, often something that they haven't experienced in the traditional hospital or medical setting, given their appearance or the way they present. And so they're always treated with dignity. And as these folks move from shelter into housing, they often stay connected with Ritter Center for their healthcare because of the experience they receive. So we want these folks moving to housing. We want them to get continued healthcare so that they're able to heal and feel like they're able to return to work and no longer sort of refugees from society, but a part of our community. So definitely speak in support and hope that we're able to move this forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is Emily Charlie.
Thank you. Hopefully I can be heard. I trust someone will let me know if I can't. So good evening, commissioners. My name is Emily Charlie. I'm a partner at the law firm of Hanson Bridget, which has its Marin offices located at 1004th Street at A Street, so just around the corner. I am delighted for Ritter to move into this new location, and I support it enthusiastically. As the commission is well aware, Ritter serves the most vulnerable populations within our community. There's a real need, unfortunately, a real need for the services that Ritter provides. And so I personally believe that it is incumbent upon us to support them. Being able to provide those services in one central location will facilitate Ritter in reaching those who need their services. In addition, while not surprised, I was pleased to hear a comment from one of Ritter's prospective new neighbors describing their efforts to reach out to them and be collaborative. That's my understanding of the folks at Ritter as well, not only serving our community, but also good neighbors. And so again, I am enthusiastically in support of Ritter and this new location. Thank you kindly.
Thank you.
If anyone else wishes to speak, please use the raise the hand icon. Or if you're in the room, please come up to the dais.
There's one person I know that's texting me with a number and I don't know who they are, but it's not sure. It's Betty Cray. It's not sure how
Yes, I'm sorry. If you are phoning in, please use *9.
And for the record, we have a question about a person who wants to make a comment.
Yeah, I don't see this person.
Does she want to send a text perhaps, or?
Can she send a text and I can allow you to read it in the record?
Have her go on speaker and just have them-
That's another idea. If she wants to speak, if you can hold it on speakerphone.
that
Brilliant
might be
idea.
easier.
Yeah, you can do it up at the microphone. That would be beautiful, actually.
Some nice out of the box creative thinking.
You get a gold star for
Like that.
today.
Thank you. I'll take it.
Okay.
I'm going to put you on the mic for the planning commission right now. Okay, I'm going to hold the phone up and you can make your comment. Okay.
Okay,
All
thank
right.
you.
Okay, you're on.
I'm on.
Go ahead.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Betty Cray. I serve on the board of directors at the Ritter Center. I've been a resident of San Rafael for over 37 years. What happens at the Ritter Center is awesomely wonderful. Our low-income, precariously housed,
You put it
our
next to the mic.
unhoused neighbors
You put it next to
can
the mic.
access
A little bit
so
more.
much help at
Other way,
Ritter.
maybe. Is that better?
They can receive health care, emotional care, help with housing, help with job seeking. And we have a pantry. The ability to move into the building at 800 A Street, only 2 blocks away, will have such a positive impact.
I've toured the building. Our clients will no longer be served under an umbrella in the driveway. The building is larger, lighter, offers private consultation rooms, and so much more. Our clients will be served with dignity, and that is so crucially important. Yes, I am strongly in favor of approving this item before us. Thank you and good evening.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Betty.
Thank you. If there's any more public comment or people wishing to speak on the phone, come up to the dais and or use the raise a hand icon or *9 if you are phoning in. Give a few more seconds. And I think that is the end of public comment.
Okay, great. At this time, I'm going to close the public hearing. And I'm just going to, if it's okay, start off with those questions that the neighbor raised, and then I'll ask for questions from the commissioners. So I have several questions in my notes. One is addressing the height of the fence relative to the neighbor's structure, the security. She asked about the food pantry, and then the palm tree and the lights.
So the fence that is going to be on the property line is a 6-foot fence. Can you list one at a time?
Sure. The next one is regarding the security. I think she was concerned that security would only be during business hours.
Yeah, I'm sorry if it sounded that way. So we will have 2 security guards during business hours, and then we're contracted to have 2 night patrols.
Okay.
So they come by, they examine the whole area. We have assured our neighbors that in addition to our property, that we want them to look in the neighborhood, because we want to ensure that there's not kind of hanging around. Obviously, we don't police the neighborhood, but if anything is going on, that's an opportunity for the security to be in contact with the police if there's something that they would need to be involved in. So that'll happen twice a night. Currently, we just do 1 of those per night. And then the video cameras are to allow us to be able to monitor what's happening in the evening around our property to make sure that that is sufficient. If it's not sufficient, we can ramp that up and have more night patrols. But based on the experience that we have, 1 night patrol a night at the existing campus is sufficient. But this is a new location, makes sense for us to be conservative. And we know that from some of the conversations that we had with the public, that was something that would be wanted, and we want to be good neighbors and respond to that.
Okay. The next one is about the food pantry, and I think she was wondering about the location and how people would access it.
Yeah, so the entrance is on Brook Street for the food pantry. One of the other things that this location has allowed is that currently we don't have any ability to queue people for our pantry inside at the campus, so they have to wait on the sidewalk. We've created the queuing for the pantry to be inside the building, so we can have up to 10 households in line, which will manage any of the flow we have outside of 1 day a year when we have our turkey holiday giveaway. We have a few more people that come on that day. But even on our busiest days, we don't have more than 10 households that are in line at any one time. So that minimizes any of the traffic out there on the sidewalk. And also because it can be really hot or really rainy or really windy. Once upon a time, it used to rain in San Rafael. It allows people to be out of those elements when they're waiting.
Okay. The next question she had was she had a request to preserve the mature palm tree that is on the property line.
Yeah, so it's a lovely palm tree, and I totally get that. And we looked into that. Unfortunately, because of what we need as far as space there for the parking lot and the fence, we can't preserve that. We're very interested in working with the neighbors around the landscaping and what could go there. We'd be glad to actually pay to have the palm tree relocated onto their property if that is something that they would want, because it is such a lovely mature tree. And we would definitely support that. But whatever we can do creatively so that the fence works with the neighbors to be able to be good neighbors with them, we understand their desire to have nice landscaping there. And if we could preserve the mature tree on our property, we would, but this doesn't work.
Okay, so it is on your property.
Yes.
I see. Okay, and then the final question was about the lights.
So Scott, can you respond to the lights question, please?
Thanks. Yeah, we're required for the lights to have a foot candle limit at the property line, which we're meeting. And so the lights are, and we have photometrics included in the planning submission that shows that the foot candles drop to the appropriate level at the fence. The other reality with the 6-foot fence is that that's going to block light. What little light is at the property line, it's going to block through. Obviously, if in the future, Ritter's been exceptional at being a good neighbor through this process. If there's a problem in the future, then, you know, it should be neighbor to neighbor adjustment of something. But with regard to the requirements, for sure, we're under the requirements.
Actually, if I could touch on that response as well. So yeah, it's you're not really allowed to create any glare on adjacent properties, and so they provide a lighting plan in sheet A1.02 that shows that they'll be complying with that. And there's also condition of approval 10 for the environmental design review permit in the resolution, which just reiterates the city requirements that all lighting be pointed down and shielded. And there's also the condition that there'll be a 90-day post-installation lighting inspection to make sure that there's no glare created on adjacent properties.
Thank you. Do you have a question?
No, I was going to just follow up and ask about the dark sky ordinance and those fixtures, but it sounds like you covered that already, but thank you.
Okay, great, thank you. And just to confirm with regard to the palm tree, that's not a protected tree?
No, so the city does not have any protected trees.
Okay, great, thank you. All right, so now we'll move to questions from the commissioners, and what I'll do is I'll just call out your name to make sure you have a chance to ask a question or speak. Commissioner Harris?
No questions at this time.
Okay, Commissioner Haveman?
No questions at this time.
Okay, Commissioner Mercado?
No, I don't have any questions.
Okay. Vice Chair Sadi?
No further questions.
Okay, and I don't have any more questions or comments. All right, and just to confirm, are there any more comments from the commissioners? If not, I would entertain a motion. Don't see any more questions. Do I have a motion to approve?
This is Commissioner Mercado. I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay.
This is Commissioner Haveman. I will second the motion.
Okay. Great. So any, so last final request for any more discussion? If not, this passes. Thank you very much.
Well,
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. We have to do a roll call.
I do want to make one comment before I take the roll call. I just want to say that this is last night. My term was extended a year. Was extended for 4 years, I think, and this is our first time back in person. My first time ever on the Planning Commission back in person, and I just want to say thank you for bringing us an item that's uncontroversial. I think exciting. And that allows us to work in support of the improvement of facilities for an organization in downtown San Rafael that is an enormous asset to not only the city, but to the broader county. So thank you very much.
Great, thank you. All right, any more comments? All right, fabulous. All right, let's take a roll call. Sorry about that.
All right. Commissioner Harris?
Yes.
Commissioner Hickman?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercado?
Yes.
Again, Commissioners Samudzi and Shock are absent. Vice Chair Saudi?
Yes.
And Chair Previtali?
Yep. All right. This
Motion passes.
Great, thank you. All right, congratulations. Thanks very much for the presentation. Thanks for your work. Yeah, thank you. It's going to be great. All right, next we'll move to the director's report. Let's see.
Yeah, so I want to start out by saying I'm very excited that Commissioner Haveman and Commissioner Mercado both have been reappointed, I think the word is, to the Planning Commission. So that fills me with much joy, and I look forward to spending time with you for the next 4 years. So that is
congratulations.
Next, I mentioned this last meeting, but I'm going to mention it again, that we are having our second housing element workshop next Tuesday, the 16th. So that is a virtual workshop. And if if you want to attend, I encourage you all to attend. You can find the information at sanrafaelhousing.org. So just a plug for that. We will not have a planning commission meeting in August, the next August. This is August on the 23rd. So enjoy your next August planning commission time off. And we will be having meetings coming up in September. We don't know the schedule yet, but we will have the comment meeting for the Aldersley Retirement Community draft EIR. And we are also intending to bring the Northgate project to Planning Commission for a study session before Design Review Board weighs in. So we're looking towards the end of September, potentially October. So some exciting things coming up. So again, I'm glad we'll have a full house here. And that is everything I have to say for my director's report.
Great, thank you.
Oh, one more thing, actually. I want to second Commissioner Hickman's sentiment. It's so nice seeing you all in person.
Yeah.
Minus you, Aldo, but Nixon. So thank you for being here. It's great. So
Agreed. It's great to see you too.
thank you.
Excellent. All right. So now I ask if the Planning Commission members have any communication. If so, do you have any comments?
Hey, I have a quick question.
Yeah, go ahead.
I feel like some sort of weird like Wizard of Oz in the background. Is there like a mic? Can you just give me a little details? Is there a microphone? Is there like the TV on the corner showing me?
Yeah, you're actually on the projector screen really large, and then you're on the podium in front of us. We can
Got
see
it.
the split screen. So you're
Got it.
definitely Oz-like in the room.
Okay. And when I talk, it's on the speakers?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. All right. I'm glad I didn't ask before. That's scary. Okay.
And I guess I should mention that we're still figuring things out. So I'm working with the city clerk, and I'll be sending out kind of like expectations for hybrid meetings. But thank you all for doing this. I think it went rather smoothly. So awesome.
I'll try to do better next time, actually.
Oh, no, you did awesome. So perfect.
Yeah. All right. Thanks. This meeting is adjourned.